What's up guys, my name is Prateshwalia and I want to talk about a very important topic, which is playing over major 7 chords. I feel like the jazz repertoire really talks about playing over minor chords as well as playing over dominant 7 chords, but doesn't talk too much about playing over major 7 chords. Now before I get into the lesson, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I want you to subscribe to my channel because I'm making all this content for free for you guys. This is advanced jazz guitar topics that people go to music college to study for. I have done the work, been to many music colleges, and I want to be able to share this material, not gatekeep it, share it with you guys and put it out for free. So subscribe to my channel, check out my website prateshwaliamusic.com where you can find transcriptions, PDFs, and a lot of other material. Going back to major 7 chords, it's very important that you know your major scale really well. Now let's say I take my C major chord here. The notes here, C, G, B, and E, right? Now, the C major scale has many different aspects to it that we can use to improvise. However, one of the most important things before we even get into playing different things and thinking of the scale in a different way, you need to know your fretboard really well. For example, not only that, your triads, everywhere on the fretboard. It's very important that you cover these triads going down in a vertical direction as well as horizontal. These are very important because once you cover these aspects, you really know where most of the meat of the C major scale lies. First thing that you can learn to know more about your C major scale or your major scale, any major scale, is to know all the chords that are present in the major scale. I want to start with the triads. There's a certain formula that you can remember for the triads. The 1, the 4, and the 5 are always major. This is always going to be the same in every major scale you play. Not only that, the 2 and the 3 are minor, which is also going to be the same in every major scale. The 6 is also minor, and the 7 is diminished. If we extend it to a 7th chord, so minor 7 flat 5, often referred to as a half diminished chord. Let's get into the scale a little bit deeper. It's important to know all your triads: C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major, going up the fretboard. Not only that, you should be able to play all your triads in one position: C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. Not only that, it is also important for you to know all the 7th chords: C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7. Once the vertical and the horizontal aspect makes sense to you, you can start getting into more cool and sophisticated harmonic aspects. One of the coolest things I've learned over the years by studying a lot of jazz guitar players, piano players, saxophone players, and many other instrumentalists is that they look at the major 7 chord or a major chord as a minor chord, which is really cool. This is something Pat Martino also used to do, and a lot of bebop players use a lot of their minor jazz vocabulary on a major 7th chord. So if we take a C major 7 chord, if we take our C off, so basically we take the root out, what we have left here is an E minor triad, because the notes here is G, B, and E. Now G, B, and E make a minor triad. Now if we add a C on top of that, that is technically an E minor flat 6 chord. This is technically an inversion of a major 7th chord or major chord. If you start looking as your C major 7th chord as an E minor chord, now you have a bunch of things that you can play on this chord. You can start playing your E minor scale. When you start playing your E minor or E Aeolian scale on your C major 7 chord, you get a Lydian sound. This is called modal playing. What I'm basically trying to do is I'm thinking of the C major triad coming from the G major scale. A major triad like this, a C major triad, can be a part of 3 different keys here. You can find that in the F major scale as the 5 chord, which gives you C Mixolydian sound, as the 4 chord of a G major scale, which will give you a Lydian sound, or as the 1 of a C major scale, which will give you the Ionian sound. If I play my Mixolydian scale, which is F major scale technically from C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C. Now that gives us a really cool bluesy flavor. I'm going to play just a C major triad here. Playing my Mixolydian scale. Let's go back to looking at the C major scale with our E minor triad. Now, since it has that E minor triad present in it, we can play some really cool things. I can impose a B7 sound to resolving to an E minor chord. This is really cool because playing a B7 this gives us a really beautiful sound on that C major chord. It's like almost a resolving quality of resolution within the chord itself. Now check it out. Playing my B7. E minor pentatonic. Now this gives you a really beautiful sound which almost feels like there's tension and resolution happening in the C major scale itself. It's a really, really beautiful sound. You can play variations of the E minor scale, like, for example, use our modal borrowing. A minor chord can also be a 2, a 3, and a 6 of another major scale. E minor is the 6 of a G major scale, 3 of a C major scale. It's also the 2 of a D major scale, which will give us a Dorian sound. For example, if I play my C major scale and I play my Dorian scale, this is my Dorian scale, and it creates a flat 2 sound, C sharp. So don't stay on that note. Try and resolve onto other notes of the C major scale or the E minor triad. Check it out. B, C Lydian, E Dorian, B major, so as you can see, you get a lot of different sounds on a major 7 chord now. I'm going to show you one more example. You can also derive the C major triad from the melodic minor scale. In an A melodic minor scale, the 3rd mode is technically a C augmented or C augmented major 7, which gives you most of the notes of a major 7 chord. By using that modal context, you can impose an A melodic minor sound on your C major chord, which goes like this. So basically the idea here is that we're taking the C major scale and we're substituting it with many different sounds by modally thinking of the C major 7 chord coming from many different places. For example, it can be coming from G major scale to give us a Lydian sound, F major to give us a Mixolydian sound, from A melodic minor to give us a Lydian augmented sound. We can be thinking of it as a minor chord, like an E minor chord, and imposing a 5-to-1 relationship that gives us a really beautiful sharp 9 sound on the chord. The point is the resolution and the functionality of the B7 to E minor within the C major context. So this is the most important part. Now, if I play my A melodic minor on my C major 7 chord, this is A melodic minor. Chromaticism, right? In conclusion, it is important for you to know your C major triad up and down the fretboard, your C major scale up and down the fretboard, all your triads in one position vertically and horizontally. After you know that, you can get into some of these really cool harmonic possibilities like modal borrowing, which is basically borrowing that modal chord from different places. For example, if it's a C major triad, it's basically coming from a C major scale, the 4 of a G major scale, or it could be the 5 of an F major scale, giving you all these different sounds and modal qualities. If it comes from the G major scale, it gives you a Lydian sound. If it comes from the F major scale, it gives you a Mixolydian, which is a more bluesier sound. You also have functionality, so you can think of that C major chord as an E minor chord, and you can impose a B7 to E minor resolution. You can also use your A melodic minor to give you this Lydian augmented sound that modern jazz guitar players really like. Now I'm going to play over a 1-6-2-5 chord progression, which is basically 1 C major 7, 6 A minor 7, 2 D minor 7, and 5 G7, and improvise using all of these different sounds. You'll be able to hear all these different tonalities from Mixolydian bluesy sound all the way to melodic minor, which gives you a little bit of an outside augmented sound. These are your triads. Which already sound beautiful. Now let's try E minor scale. Lydian sound. Now let's do a little bit of F major or C Mixolydian. Super bluesy, right? Now, A melodic minor. Now I can combine all of this. Lydian, Dorian, E Dorian. Gives a little bit of an outside sound, melodic minor. Guys enjoyed this lesson. Please do not forget to subscribe and like this video. If you subscribe, I can keep making these videos and I can keep putting out more and more content for you guys for free with no charge. You can also check out my website, which is prateshwaliamusic.com, to get some PDF material and transcriptions of my playing. And if you like me enough, you can also check out my music, which is available on all streaming platforms. You can check out my trio as well as my organ trio band PSA. I hope you guys like this lesson. See you guys in the next one.